Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 209. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinetsky. Hello, sir.
I've got two whole thumbs.
Are you still playing BMG?
Beam and Drive? Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah, nice. Very
But
good.
I'm bouncing back and forth.
No, it's fine.
You know how to do.
I only brought it up because I was kind of jealous, because this computer can barely keep a Discord stream and OBS open at the same time.
I'm driving a Tucker truck and just putting it through hell.
Not actually a truck made by a Tucker, though, right? Just like a...
No, not...
Okay.
You're
talking like a toilet bowl injected GMT 300.
Yeah, whatever the BM Drive version of that is, I'm driving that.
Fair enough. All right, before we get into anything else, I am actually drinking a sparkling water this time around because I grabbed the wrong thing out of the fridge.
I just have another Castle Cream Ale that I may or may not open, depending on how I feel.
Definitely going to Yingling it up again after this episode, but I made a huge mistake. All right, so I know. I make mistakes, especially when I'm down on vacation. My brain just kind of moves into the mush state, which is exactly what I needed right now, and also kind of annoying to deal with. So,
yeah, you've had like everything all happening at once. So when you said like you're going on vacation, I'm like, that would be nice to know, but I imagine he probably did this at last minute.
I still told you almost a week in advance.
Yeah.
Usually when my calendar moves over, it was Monday, because I do my calendars Monday through Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Because that's how I live my life. And it's, I only see that the podcast is coming up that week when I hit it on Monday. So that's why. But not ideal, but we'll get it done. Before we start in on your first topic, I do briefly want to touch on our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this sweet customized page on patreon.com, you will find 2 open-ended levels of support for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. You get some neato swag and the ability to brag to all your friends, as well as the ability to feed us topics. So patreon.com/Carbitrage. All right, so you have the first story. I will bring up some links, but...
So...
There we go.
As you know, I working at BAT, I've been discovering weird trends on cars I've not ever thought about looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk about actually a car that's like just a straight up collector at this point. Nobody thinks about, and what that is the modern Mini Coopers.
So the BMW Mini Cooper.
Yeah, like the R53, Mini Cooper, the current body style, not the current most newest one, but I mean that one as well. Because if you look at the Bring a Trailer graph, when you go on that first link that I put in the notes.
Yep. No, I'm on the graph right now.
Yeah, you see that this is a clear upward swing that these cars are taking. The John Cooper Works ones are
the first gen.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first gen John Cooper Works cars are selling like just for freaking bananas. But even when you look down here at the bottom of the graph, the normal ones, like you're getting up there. So like I had one like a 28,000 mile 2005 Mini Cooper S 6-speed in New York, with like is totally a driver quality car.
Mm-hmm.
Sold for $12,000.
Damn.
With a roof rack on it, and like it sold surprisingly well. And that wasn't the only one. It's like if you look at these, like they're all like collectively selling for like way higher than normal, and you would think so. It's like, all right, obviously people are buying these because they're like an exciting, like hot hatch, right? You would expect that, right, Eric?
Yeah.
No, not even. If you click that last link I put there, the Mini Goodwood, the Goodwood editions are automatic. And they're like, to be fair, it's a Mini Cooper with Rolls-Royce interior and paint, which is pretty rad. But, I mean, still, like, that,
Ooh.
fancy.
Okay. That's an R56. Those are trash. Those things, the engines just fall out of them.
Uh-huh.
R56s should never be worth any money unless you're getting a first-gen JCW GP, which is an 06.
Yeah, this is a automatic one with very, very nice interior.
This car is not worth saving.
But that's the thing. Apparently they are, because they are consistently selling very high and appreciating.
Why? Are they super low production?
The Goodwoods, yes.
I'm looking at that 2012 Goodwood right now, yeah.
Goodwoods, they actually literally, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say they put a Rolls-Royce interior in it. Like, they actually took corn silk Rolls-Royce leather from the Rolls-Royce factory, brought it to the Mini Cooper factory, stuck it in the Mini, and then shot it out the door. And they all, like, the wood trim is, like, from the Rolls-Royce's wood trim stock, so, like, it's actually pretty rad. But, I mean, still, I mean, it's an automatic Mini Cooper when you get down to it with a tarted up interior.
That one I don't understand. The GP again, I do. The friends that I'm visiting in Texas next week, they've got an '06, like a really nice '06 GP, and I adore driving that thing. It is so much fun. But
yes, I
Goodwood.
think that, yeah,
It's
I
even
know.
got a crash on its record.
Yeah, that's what kept it only in the 30s.
This is so dumb. I'm trying to find interior pictures.
If you scroll down on it,
I was all the way down. I didn't see him. I'm gonna have to open the gallery, I think.
well, I mean, the fourth and fifth pictures are going to be interior photos.
Oh god, that automatic shifter is just tragic.
But I mean, like, that's a thing. It's like that's a real, actual trend. And if you go like to the Bring a Trailer graph, like, Goodwoods consistently sell very well.
This is the dumbest thing. I hate this. This is a bad car.
And they sell great. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
it does have lamb's wool floor mats.
I'm not exaggerating when they literally took, like, a bunch of Rolls-Royce crap and just stuck it into a Mini. Like, it's pretty cool, I guess. But I mean, like, if you were looking for, I think that makes sense to me because it's for, like, people that want a curious subcompact. Like, that's what that car's for.
Once again, the answer is always Fiat.
Yeah, but I mean, I know.
The Minis,
I'm wondering.
The R53s even suck to work on. Like, changing an alternator on that requires pulling an axle.
Mm-hmm. It's like a Honda. Like,
yeah, it's bad.
Axle. Yeah, it's not good.
Or a Mercury Cougar.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if it's just gonna be the Mini that does that, or if in that way as well in the future, as like a pushback from the whole giant car thing that's going on in America, where everybody just gets giant cars, because like people don't really want that, and now it's actually like sought after to have something smaller. And I think that Mini Cooper is kind of showing that. To be honest, you have a smaller, fun car that isn't insane, and the newer ones aren't as good as the older ones, so now the older ones are just going bananas, and the original Mini Cooper is just so unrealistic to own that, like, that I think that car falls in a good place. I'm wondering, like, with Fiat 500s, if they'll start going that way as well, because Fiat 500s, like, they're a really endearing car, and like they're objectively on par with the Mini Cooper in every way.
And they'll survive too. I mean, I'm actually amazed that this many Mini Coopers are still running.
I'm truly surprised that there are that many Mini Coopers in Bring a Trailer condition. Like, I see them all the time, where they're like mostly clapped out.
Yeah.
Not entirely, but like mostly.
Those are the ones that have been sitting on somebody's driveway with a bad engine for the last 5 years, and they're just nuked.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just did like a quick look to see if I could find any modern Abarths that have sold on Bring a Trailer. And looking back through there's a solitary one, a 2013 Fiat 500 Abarth 5-speed sold on Bring a Trailer in June of 2020 for $10,000.
Well, it's actually pretty good money.
Yeah, 35,000 miles. It's a very meh color. It's a gray.
That car, there's so many of them, and they've got to go through their E36 phase before they really are going to start to come back. And like, I've seen some really clapped out 500 Abarths now, so.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like, Minis have done that. Like, it's not as, like, people don't really talk about it as much, but Minis did go through that. Whereas a lot of people have heavily modified Mini Coopers and just blew them the hell up.
Yep.
Also, Mini's been here for twice as long as Fiat.
Oh, easily. So I think 2001 versus 2012.
Yeah, so I think that that given our 5-6 years, I think Fiats will start catching up with Mini Coopers. And in the meantime, you're going to be able to get like literally the best subcompact in the world right now for like next to free. So And yeah, so that's just something that I found that I thought was just totally wild. Was like Mini Coopers appreciating value. So you can chalk that up with like the '80s Jaguars, cars you would not think are super that are super collectible, but are.
That's just so confusing. I would love to interview people that were the highest bidders on the last like 10 or 15 cars on Bring a Trailer. Be like, what got you interested in Mini? Why you're looking for this specific one? Again, like the JCW GPs, I get that. You don't have to explain it to
Actually,
me.
I have a friend who actually he was a Mini guy for a little bit. I can have him on and see if I can get him to come on because he's got a what is he? I think he's got like an RS3 now, but he's got like some sort of like Audi hot hatch.
I'd be
But
curious to know because it just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, the appeal of modern Mini is like yeah, like I don't really get them because like I don't like the interior. I think that they're cluttered.
Yeah.
Very poorly used, like use of space, really poor use of space.
Especially the
But I
GP,
mean,
which
like
has no backseat.
exactly, like it doesn't make sense.
But
To
the
me. But
car,
like
that one's so hilarious to drive. It's like, I don't even care.
yeah, exactly. But what I'm surprised. So if I were to get a Mini, I'd want to take one of the ex Red Bull cars, and then find myself like a
Oh,
rollover
yeah.
John Cooper at Works.
Or a
Like
Goodwood. Or both.
yeah,
Put a
or
Goodwood
both.
interior with a GP drivetrain and a Red Bull Mini.
And a Red Bull Mini would be perfect. That'd be a perfect vehicle. So
Amazing.
yes, I can understand the appeal of minis if it is that exact vehicle.
Yep. Which, wow, I kind of want that now.
There you go. Now you're gonna start collecting like a collection of clapped out minis.
No, that won't happen. No.
All
I
right.
like driving the GP when I visit people, but that's pretty much it.
It's a perfect example of that car you like your friend to buy.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
speaking of cars, I want my friend to buy. I
Yeah.
want to talk about. All right, so the Mercedes SL has been around since the 1950s, and from that time, it's gone from a hardtop coupe to a race car to a convertible. It's been through all sorts of, the Pagoda, then it went to the R107, then the 129, then the 230, then
Yeah.
whatever it is now, who cares? The new one, they're making a couple of changes. For the most part, it's going to be a lot like whatever the current chassis code for the current SL is, which doesn't matter. But they're getting rid of all non-AMG variants on the SL.
That seems really dumb. Why don't you just get rid of the AMG variant?
I think it's because that's all they're selling these days.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it cheapens the AMGs.
It does, and they've already done that because you see like these SL43 AMGs, and I'm betting you we're going to see an even lower tier AMG badged model on the SL coming because in addition to that,
It's like M or
yes,
Audi S line.
they're just like shaking all these badges down into the lowest tiers until people stop buying their shit, and then they're going to be out of cachet.
So everybody really just wants to be Infiniti. Wow, Infinity's a brand leader for just totally nuking your brand and what makes your brand special.
Pretty much, and they're adding all-wheel drive to the SL, which I'm just like, it's a convertible.
I'm not a fan of that, but I'm kind of curious about that because, I mean, like I know a lot of people in Minnesota didn't buy SLs because they were rear-wheel drive only.
That's
However,
a bad reason.
I know it's a bad reason, but I mean, like that's the world we live in. So I don't fight about that. So there's only so many fights I can win, and that I'm willing to fight over. But one of the things I'd be curious about is I would love to see SLs like raced on rally, like courses, like convertibles.
I mean, it's
now
gonna
they're all-wheel
make
drive.
fantastic beaters in the future for sure, but just in the meantime, these things are all going to be driven like regular SLs, just toting around an extra 200 pounds of shit and getting worse fuel economy.
That is very true.
And
I don't know.
probably means we're not getting a diesel variant either, because they're not going to make a diesel AMG.
I would like to get a diesel all-wheel drive SL.
That would be super cool, but I bet they're not going to do it.
I would totally buy that used.
They've never.
I
was
I mean, I can buy that used.
I would 100% buy that used.
Yeah, I do not want it. Well, I mean, there's no Mercedes I'd ever buy new because like no SL ever has appreciated to the price it costs when new, like except for the
First gen.
Gullwings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Like no like reasonable SL has done that.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what to make of this, but I'm like a little down on it on the whole. Like, if you're putting it on the 63 model because you literally can't get it to hook up when you launch without it, okay, fine. But if you're giving us a twin turbo V6 SL43 AMG and it's all-wheel drive, that doesn't make any sense.
It's literally just sell it to Karen. Like, God, cars these days. I used to be so pro make things all-wheel drive because, like, just coming from like a world of drag racing, like, yeah, it makes sense. But like now, it's just like the manufacturers have just ruined it.
On a convertible, I don't get it. I mean, there have not been that many companies that have done an all-wheel drive convertible. Like BMW did it, and Audi did it.
All-wheel drive on a convertible, I'm not inherently mad at because, like, when I think of all-wheel drive convertible, I think of what would have been the perfect DSM.
A GSX convertible.
A GSX convertible, and I've seen people do it, and when I see it, like, yeah, it's the perfect vehicle because it's so awesome in every way. In the 3000 GT VR4 Spider, like,
that is a cool car.
Convertible.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You can make an all-wheel drive convertible like really dope, but like I just don't have any faith that Germans know how to do that at all.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be exactly like the outgoing car with slightly tweaked visuals, and then it's just going to happen to have an all-wheel drive system underneath it.
Ugh, not a fan.
No,
not a fan.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. I just couldn't really care less about that, but I had to bring it up because it's just so weird.
I know that they're going to find a way to just totally screw it up. Well, how about this? I want to talk about another Mercedes convertible that was great in every way and rear-wheel drive.
Oh God.
So I want to talk about the 1886 Benz patented motor wagon.
Okay.
Because it was International Working Women's Day a little while ago, and I was listening to the podcast about Bertha Benz's the time she stole Carl Benz's car, where apparently she stole it because Carl Benz was like really self-conscious about it and he wasn't sure if it was gonna work, and she took it and it totally didn't work. But like she just dealt with it. Like the whole issue is like she made like every improvement to the car, where like because like Carl Benz is like he was afraid to drive it because like he didn't want to break, and she just like drives it and she's like, yeah, I broke everything. Oh, by the way, I invented the brake pad. And you really need to put a 2-speed transmission in this because the kids can only push it uphill sometimes.
She's a bad bitch.
Yeah, Carl Benz is like totally cool with it. Like, and apparently when she did that, she also didn't because the whole story is like she took the car to go visit her mom. Turns out her mom was on vacation. She'd even like call her mom to see if she was still there or telegram her mom to see if she was there. She's like straight up like decided to head over.
How far was that? Oh, wait, I see it here in the listing actually.
It wasn't that far, but I mean in 1886 with a car with like 2 horsepower almost, it was 121 miles. It was like driving to like Mankato and back. Or if you're from Los Angeles, it was like driving to I guess.
No, dude, this was 65 miles in 1888.
No, the whole trip. The whole trip would be 121 miles. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
To and from.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think like Los Angeles to like Anaheim and back.
I was gonna say, yeah, with no roads, 65 miles. That's like the drive to Southwest Florida from Minneapolis.
Yeah. So anyway. Apparently in Germany, there's actually the Bertha Benz Memorial Route, which actually is the real route that she took, the actual roads, and they do a vintage race that happens on those roads.
I kind of want to do that.
I'd want to do that quite badly.
Or see it, I guess. I don't know if I actually want to do it. But...
Oh, I want to do it. 100%.
Where's my goddamn pre-war bell?
I know, right? Haha, it's not even near you. But like, there's no way that doesn't sound freaking awesome.
I put up the route on the video here.
Yeah, like it's a great route. I'm pretty excited about that.
So I got to do Goodwood, and now I got to do this Bertha Benz Memorial
Route Heritage Race.
Where? What time of year did they do it?
Let me see here. So Bertha Benz Memorial Route.
Looks like it started in 2008. That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
This is hilarious.
Vintage.
So you get notifications for days over there.
Yeah, that's Jana that's doing that.
I had to restart my phone.
Oh.
I see. Oh, weird. It's not telling me that. I don't know. Benz Memorial Route Vintage Race. Where did you find that it started in 2008?
It's on the Wikipedia page.
What the hell? Why is my life so difficult?
So the route was approved in February, but I'm guessing they don't do it in February. Oh shoot, I have to sneeze. Oh no.
Oh no.
Don't do it.
No.
Oh no.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure.
I want to know what time of year.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'll find out.
This is baloney, sir.
Oh, here we go. It says at the bottom. Bertha Benz Challenge. So apparently they do it in January, but now they're doing it in summer.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you really want to just make it as bad as possible just to mimic the 1880s by doing it in January?
Yeah, I know, right? So I guess it moves around. So they did summer 2011, and then they did September for 2012 and 2013, and
so it's
moving
not a
forward.
Set day, then.
No, it's not. They move it around. It sounds like, but like, yeah, Tesla Roadsters did it in 2011, so that's cool. So I guess like actual cars can do it, but I'm sorry, there's no way I'm doing that in a car made even a day after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Bertha's kind of a babe too. Thank you,
yeah,
Jana.
I was just saying, Bertha Benz is actually like really attractive. Like
okay, I gotta look her up.
Yeah, she's like really attractive. Like
she looks like she's plotting.
Yeah, like not just by like 1890s standards, but like by modern standards, like she's very attractive.
Oh, she's a babe.
Yeah, Carl Benz did well for himself because he was not nearly as attractive as she was. So good for him.
I mean, it was a different time, but
actually, no. I'm sorry. I see a picture of Carl Benz at age 25 when you look up his Wikipedia, and he kind of looks like Shane Madej from BuzzFeed and from
Shane
Witcher.
Madej is.
But Jana knows, and I know. And
yeah, I do.
Well, Nana Boo Boo, you guys know some shit that I do not.
Yeah, you would totally love Shane Madej. He's hilarious, and he's from Chicago, so he makes Midwest references.
Okay, I do appreciate those.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He likes Culvers a lot.
Yeah, he loves Culvers.
I want Bertha Benz to come back and then replace Valentino Balboni as Lamborghini's test driver.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
I know, right?
But
that'd be perfect. Be Bertha Benz doing that. I love that she like when she did that race, she just like takes her sons and like
she took her entire family in that thing.
I like didn't tell Carl. Just did it before he woke up.
Carl's just like, well, I guess they're all dead. I'll start a new family. Carl's second wife.
Bertha Benz, like, so I'm thinking maybe for March we should just do, for like the next 3 episodes that we record in March, we'll do like a kind of like a Women's Month sort of thing, like we did with Black History Month. We just talk about cool women in history, because there's totally things like there's more hilarious stories than just Bertha Benz, like of awesome women doing like crazy shit. So there's plenty of them. So yeah, I thought you would enjoy hearing that wonderful story, and that you can actually now recreate the drive.
I do like weird stuff like that, so yeah, I do appreciate that.
There we go.
All right, I want to move back to kind of the real world. Semiconductors. Obviously, really big problem. You can kind of hear that in the news absolutely everywhere. We talked about, I think it was only 2 episodes ago, global semiconductor shortages are affecting not only like PC gamers and crypto miners, but also automakers. However, there is one noteworthy automaker that couldn't care less because they have a stockpile of all the necessary chips on hand, and they don't use just-in-time inventory for absolutely everything.
Who is it?
That company is Toyota.
Of course it's Toyota.
Yep. So I'm just guessing this is part of the Toyota method, but it turns out that this was actually a process that they learned through the Fukushima disaster, because they had kind of a similar thing happen, and they're like, you know what, these are cheap, they don't take up much space, they don't go obsolete all that quick, and We really should keep a stockpile. Yeah, and like again, this is Toyota working on experience, just like sticking the giant finger L on their forehead, pointing at the rest of the world, be like,
we learn from our history.
We have GPS navigation and you don't. Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, the Siennas of the world are rolling off the assembly line effortlessly, and all other car manufacturers are shuttering factories temporarily to get this sorted. So
I think the best part about this is that Siennas are probably the best vehicle you can buy right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there. I'm gonna say it's probably the most practical combustion vehicle you could buy right now.
I would say like that's like my favorite like performance vehicle right now is a Sienna.
Oh, me too. Just taking people to Gapplebee's in a Sienna. Imagine having like a BC Moto Sienna and then taking it to TX2K.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like it's such a solid vehicle, and it's like it's comfortable, and it's just like it does everything you need. They handle great. Like I don't see any problems with this. Like any reason you wouldn't want to actually just own a Sienna for quite literally any reason.
I drove an all-wheel drive 3.5 Sienna of Janus generation on Brainerd with like film crews hanging out of it one time, and I was having a blast.
I feel the only way to drive a Sienna at full tilt is with like people with cameras in the back.
You just gotta yeet them around. Nobody does, and it's a shame. Like right now, there's a spring broken in mine, so I've been driving the Accord. So I've been yeeting the Accord around, and it doesn't do nearly as well being yeeted as the Sienna does.
The past tense of yeet is yacht. Thank you.
Yachted around.
I don't know why that's come up enough times in my life where I know that there is a past tense to yeeted, but
so it's been yacht around, and it's just it doesn't like I have to slow down for clover leaves.
Oh, well, that's
How
not fun.
rude.
To be fair, honey, with your Accord, it's got 2 stuck brake calipers. That's more the issue.
That's fine. The Sienna still takes.
That's fine. Okay.
It doesn't matter. I've driven cars with all stuck brake calipers. The key is just don't use the brakes for like a couple minutes, then the pad will wear out there, and then you're fine until you have to stop again.
Pretty much what happens is the rear brakes overheat and they don't do anything.
Scott just sent me a link to a burgundy Chevy Bolt for $11,900 in Connecticut, I think.
God, you could buy a Fiat for that much money.
Yeah, but this is like a 60 plus kilowatt hour EV, so he could still keep using his meter. And I do like that we came up with a while ago, like, well, it's just so ugly. I'm like, well, have it vinyl wrapped to look like it's in a paper grocery bag then. I think that would be the perfect wrap for a Bolt, because it's so ugly.
And the fact that it's got a bow tie on the front is also a problem.
That does not help its case, I will say.
No, it really doesn't. Like, it's one of those things where it's like GM isn't inherently bad, but like GM is bad enough that like I don't want to like go out of my way and say, yeah, I drive a GM model. Like,
But you look at the options, and it kind of makes sense.
No, you're right. It does make sense, but I'm just looking at the options, and I'm like, it's just like my contempt for GM like as a brand, because like we're talking to Scott about how he feels about Fiat, or about how he's been treated by Hyundai or Kia. I'm like, I feel like GM's gonna do the same thing, because they literally don't even care about you as a person.
Correct. Oh god, yeah. But the thing is, these are already being investigated for battery fires, and that's driving the values of the old ones down. So perfect. It's the perfect time to get one, and you know if you get a first year, it's already had the Scott own it and suffer through all the recalls and stuff and be aggravated by it, and it's fine now.
And if they replace all the battery packs, then
Scott's back.
Oh hi.
Then you'd get a brand new battery pack too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's still under a full battery warranty for quite some time. So.
And these use the LG Chem cells, which are similar, if not the same, as the ones that were in the Kona that you guys talked about a couple episodes ago.
Oh yeah, you're right. So
I'm sure that's fine.
Speaking of
yes, go buy a Bolt. Sorry.
Yes, so Scott, you're talking about cars that have like just completely fallen off of a cliff for appreciation because of issues. I want to talk about cars that are actually appreciating, and proof of such. The BMW 1M.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, if you actually look at the subscriber page, the number of people that are subscribing to the BMW 1M on BAT is higher than the total production of 1Ms.
Well, yeah, they only made like 1,500 worldwide.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's only so many people that go out of their way. Like, if you actually subscribe to a specific model page,
Yeah, it means you're looking for one.
you're actively looking for it. So, like, you don't, like, accidentally do that.
No.
So,
I
just like-
subscribed to the BMW Z8. I subscribed, I think, to the 1M. I probably still am subscribed to that.
I just think that, like, so if you ever want a car that's, like, you want to know, like, if you want proof positive that car is going to appreciate, that was a perfect example of the car. I just pulled up their page real quick, and it looks like, yeah, it's the colored ones, like the reds and the oranges, that are selling well.
They sold
Well,
it
you
in
can
3
still-
colors, white, black, and orange.
Oh, yes, that's orange, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the white and black ones pull a little bit less money than the orange ones. But thing is, the top tier ones are the ones that have no miles on, because everybody bought them knowing that they're going to make like 5 of them, and they're all going to be collectible, so...
In my opinion, as somebody who owns one of these and shopped for quite a while, you want Valencia orange, you want
Yes.
manual seats with the a la carte $500 heated seat option selected, and you want to
yes.
deselect navigation, because it's like stapled into the top of the dash, and it's disgusting. So that's
Yeah.
it. That's how you want to buy it. Yes, I agree the lower mile cars are going to bring more money,
Well,
but
that's just a fact. But I mean,
yeah.
like, you can still, like, the cheapest one that's ever sold on Branch Over is for $25,000. It was in 2019, and that was 114,000 miles, and was in Canada
wow.
with a not clean Carfax.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If it has any accident history, it immediately drops a pretty significant amount of value
That-
too.
And that's kind of the issue with these cars is probably why nobody drives them is like the reason that they're like appreciating is they're kind of like Ford GTs. Everybody bought them, and nobody put any miles on it. So if you have 7,000 miles on it, it's a high mile car.
I think you'd be surprised. I'm in a couple owners groups, and there are a lot of these with 200,000 miles on them
Well, that's great, perfect.
because
That-
they're
that's the way it should
really
be.
good to drive. I mean, it's one of my favorite driving cars I have.
Yeah, I've yet to be in that one, but yeah, I mean, like when that came out, that was like, I think that was the last performance car that came out where I'm like, that is awesome. I'm very excited for this.
Well, it's a
performance.
parts bin car. Like, it shouldn't exist.
But I mean, that's what makes it beautiful.
I know. That's why I love it. And when I finally get to a DMV again someday, I'm gonna get that as a license plate. PRTSBIN.
Perfect. So, what are some other cars that you think would fall into that category of being like, have way more people that are actively searching for them? Not just saying like, I would like to own one, but like people are going out of their way looking in the market for one than currently exist. What are some other cars that you wouldn't imagine would be in that list? Because like we all know, like obviously there's probably more people looking for Countachs than there are Countachs.
Well, yeah, it's stuff like the ITR, but I'm going to try to branch out a little bit and talk about stuff that we don't usually talk about. I think it's going to be like first-gen Boxster Spider, first-gen Cayman GT4. I think, UR-Qs are already pretty sought after, but I think we're going to start to see B4 and B5 S4s honestly start to pull a little bit more money.
I think if you have a I think you're right with the S4, and I think another thing with the S4 is if you have an S4 with extremely low mileage or S4 with a maintenance record that shows a timing chain, that will like double the value of the car probably.
On a 2.7, yeah. I mean the
But no, I'm talking about a V8 one. If you have
Oh, yeah.
like just that's what I was talking about. No, the 2.7s. Yeah, no question. I'm in agreement with you on those. But yeah, it was the same with the V8s.
And the 2.2s and
going
the
on.
B4s. Those are... I can understand the
think-
appeal on those.
I also think the Audi, the Audi like the 200 Quattro, not the UR Quattro, but like the 90s two-door Quattro coupe thing.
Oh, the Audi 90.
Yeah, the Audi 90 Quattro.
Yeah, those Quattro coupes used to be like $1,000, and they've
They're
been
not
going
anymore.
up a long time. Yeah, with the 2.8
however-
V6 or whatever, they're not impressive.
And
but-
I think that's an example of a car where it's like there are more people looking for it than exist. But I think if you look at the number of people looking for them versus the number that exists, it's like 3,000 looking and like 30 in existence because they
Yeah.
were all put away wet. They're all destroyed.
Oh, I got it. E90 rear-wheel drive manual wagons. I see
Oh yeah,
want to
totally.
buys all the time on
100%.
those now, and those cars do not exist.
The A86
Yep.
Ben from JNC was famous for saying there's probably more Ferrari Enzos than there are AE86s in the world that are clean and unmodified.
It's getting close to that on 240SXs too.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say another car you could probably just get ahead of the curve with. I would get a 350Z Nismo.
Yeah.
I don't like that car at all, but if you want a car where there's more people looking for that car than currently exists, get ahead of the curve, because it's going to be about 2 more weeks, and there will be no 350Zs left, because everybody buys them and crashes them immediately. They're all destroyed.
You're not wrong, unfortunately.
There was a guy on, I follow some, like, Japanese car, like, buy-sell trade pages, obviously, and there's a guy who's like, he had a matte black G35, and he's like, yeah, for sale or trade, looking for $3,000. Everybody's laughing him out of the page because, like, it was like the worst looking G35 I've ever seen. Like, it was so bad. It had like 15-inch like American racing wheels painted black. It's like Krylon, and the body was painted matte black with Rust-Oleum. It was really bad. And I was just like looking at that. I'm laughing at this right now for like. Everybody's offering me $1,000, and somebody said, like, I'll give you $1,000, or he's like, I'll give you $1,000 in Bitcoin right now. I'm like, I would take that offer now.
Well, especially
like,
if it was a while ago.
Well, no, this is like a couple days ago. But I'm like,
okay.
Bitcoin's obviously going up. But I mean, like,
it's at the all-time
right
high right now, 60,815.
Hey, but yeah, with this like G35, I'm like, I'm laughing about this right now, and I said to myself, I'm like, I will be actively looking for one for under $3,000 in about 10 years, because there'll be none left, because every single one's gonna be destroyed. And honestly, other than the VQ, they're pretty great cars. The engine sucks, but whatever.
It's just like anything else that has timing chain issues. It's the 324-252 Audi engines, the 44 TU engines.
It sounds the way it does.
Well, maybe that's true. There was a company that tried to make it sound good by making equal length headers, and they still couldn't do it.
The intake is the problem.
Why?
Because it's got the cylinder heads are unequal length runners.
Oh, has somebody made an intake manifold for it then?
No, I'm not. I didn't say intake manifold is runners. Heads. I should say ports. Unequal length ports.
What? That's the dumbest. Nissan.
It's entirely unfixable. That's how it's gonna sound forever.
Put a bunch of mufflers on it, and then just get an artificial sound system from GTI or something and put it in there.
Actually, my dad had because his exhaust went out, and I put a Tanabe medallion on it, and I swear Tanabe.
Shit about a corn.
Corn. Yeah, Carcraft corns. But Tanabe, they've always been my favorite brand because they are capable of making the worst engine sound amazing. Because I had a Tanabe exhaust on my CRX, and it sounded amazing for being a D series. It's the worst sounding engine in the world, and it sounded great. Like it honestly sounded better than most do. And then my dad put a Tanabe touring medallion, which is like the step, on his car, and it actually made a G35 sound really decent. Like it was, it's still, you knew it was a VQ, but it wasn't as insulting. That's exhaust.
Pretty high praise for a VQ, so I'll take it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound insulting. Like that's the highest praise I could possibly give that engine.
As it rattles itself to pieces like your neighbor's engine, hopefully.
Nah, most of it's on the stop sign, so.
Oh God. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna put for future reference G35s on my list of cars where more people are looking for them than currently exist.
And that will continue to get more stringent. It's like even okay.
Which just doesn't make sense. Like that car is okay at best.
That's
it
true.
is, but that's the thing is it's got really good bones that you can build upon, and like
True.
And what I like about the G35 is the fact that
why don't people LS swap those?
People do.
They should. I mean, the transmission's already set up for it, and it's bulletproof. The chassis is good. The interior's fine. Just throw an LS in it. Call it good.
Well, actually, that you can also use the Infinity V8 that they have in the
the VK.
the Q40 the Q45
A
engine.
VK45DE would be really cool in there.
Yeah, because they're the Infinity M cars or whatever they were, the M45.
Yep.
You can get an M45 or an M35, so that then it can't be that hard to swap. Like the factory
No,
did
and
it.
you can get it in the FX too, so I'm sure the engines are all over the place.
Yeah. So there was somebody in the that was in the Cross Cabriolet page, and she's like, the transmission went on my Cross Cabriolet. Can I put one from their model? And everybody's like giving her like ridiculous responses. And I'm like, I gave her a reel. I'm like, any longitudinal and Nissan or Infinity transmission will work as long as it's all-wheel drive.
Should be transverse on those, right?
No, it's longitudinal.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
Cross cab? Ugh.
I'm pretty sure it's longitudinal. Because I think so. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. But like either way, like their parts been engineered. So like I think any car that's like parts been engineered where you have like the coolest version of that chassis. I think that's a really good way to put that on that list of cars.
If I had a cross cab, I would look for a 3.7 VQ. I would get a 6-speed manual out of a 2002 Nissan Maxima, and I would send it.
That I'm not gonna lie, you're not wrong with that. That sounds great. And if it does turn out to be, I can just easily Google this. Let me just look up an Nissan Murano.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that was assuming that it's transverse. I don't know. I would also do the same thing for my future Avantime.
Oh shit, you're right.
3.7.
Wait a minute.
Would be
No,
good.
those are what the fuck? There we go. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they are transverse. So I can't do some rear-wheel drive CD009 that I'd want to do with it.
Not in that, no. Oh yeah, that would stop you from doing the GTR swap too. So yeah, your best case is get a 6-speed from an early Maxima and then bolt the nicest VQ you can to it.
Yes, but talking about cars that are also on that list, cross cabs.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
Weirdest car to be on that list, but like they're not enthusiasts that are looking for it. But like there's like a really weird like just like every Karen wants one.
Talk about a good business opportunity for a company that makes aftermarket parts. Start making top assemblies and parts for cross cabs. You will make a fortune on the few people that have those, and probably for the next several decades too.
Yeah, any company that can make that can make the top assemblies like that, and then like as long as you like reman transmissions for Nissans.
Oh yeah, the CVT, gross. Ugh.
You know what I would do? I just put an automatic in it.
Yeah, just auto swap it.
Just automatic. Like, that's all you have to do. Is just, I have got an all-wheel drive automatic transmission.
Seriously, go pull
So
from
much
that
better.
same Maxima. Go get the 4-speed auto that they used to have, which is pretty much bulletproof, and just throw that in there. It doesn't matter.
I think like the first generation Murano.
That was a CVT still.
No, because they started doing the CVT in like 4, I think.
Oh really? I
yeah,
really
so
thought
I
the CVT started in 02 on those.
No, I think it was 04.
Interesting.
Because I
Really?
remember it. Yeah, and so like, if there's a automatic all-wheel drive transmission, that would make a cross cab way better.
Oh yeah, that would make it actually something you could afford to keep on the road.
Yeah, that would be a perfect car. Like we were talking like a year or two ago about like a perfect car for your parents in Florida.
Oh.
Like that is your Florida Huckleberry, and with global warming, it's lifted, so you'll be able to drive through floodwater.
Replace our 05 Lexus ES330 that we stole from my grandma. I've been driving that around the last week, and like honestly, for Florida, there's no fun roads here. And it has air-conditioned seats. I tinted the windows before we sent it down, and it's a 3MZ. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's for Florida. Like, I just couldn't care less.
That you're
No
totally
car
right.
can make Florida driving enjoyable.
True, we used to have an E46 330 convertible down here, and it was obviously a way nicer car to drive.
I would say a land yacht, actually.
A Tesla Model S is the actual answer for down here, but we don't have one of those.
No, I mean like I'm saying like a land yacht.
Oh, like the Randy Grubb.
A 77 Continental.
Oh, so you're not talking
Perfect
about a
for it.
literal
Right,
yacht
what
for the
did
land.
The show about the New York Jewesses, what what did they bring up from Florida? And they drove all the way from Florida to New York City.
I think that was actually a 77 Continental.
Oh, for Pete's
Yeah.
sake.
Like that, yeah, it was a land yacht from Broad City.
You need
Yeah,
extra
Broad City.
margins, though, because people drive so poorly here. Oftentimes they're in your lane, and if you have a land yacht, you're taking up your entire lane.
Yeah.
However, those big chrome bumpers, you probably won't even notice.
Also, that car weighs enough that like you can just drive through walls. Like that's like the car where clipping is turned off.
You wonder why the super small overlap crash test wasn't a thing in the 70s? Because it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Concrete barriers just weren't made strong enough at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't a problem until like the 80s.
Yeah, if two cars hit, they would just bounce off each other. It's fine.
Yeah, they just keep. It was an unstoppable object moves an immovable force, or unstoppable force meets an immovable object. That's what it is.
Yep. We just choose to not. Yeah, no, it's fine. This guy keeps posting bolts in the Discord. Sub 19,000 for a brand new bolt. Holy crap! Hey, if it's brand new, you could probably get him to do a dealer transfer.
I'm also looking at the fact that you're about to spend $20,000 to drive a Chevy. Like, really?
I would still spend 11 for a first year whatever one, but like
I'm
the
honestly
late
surprised
ones.
the used prices aren't lower right now. That's the
Yeah.
most concerning thing.
I thought those were sub 10. I know we've seen them there, but I understand why they're not all sub 10.
Well, when do the bulk of leases come up?
Spring, right around now actually.
Those may not have popped up yet. That might be part of it.
Next 2 months.
We should have Bobby Flew on sometime because he knows all about like dealer stuff because he's been doing that for way longer than I ever did.
Yeah, and then if we knew, Scott, do you know a lemon law attorney? I can't remember if you said you did, but we really need to do a lemon law episode.
Yes. Well, I don't know him personally. I got a referral, but I didn't end up using one because I couldn't get reimbursed for it, so I just acted as my own.
I see. Well, that sort of petered out without a conclusion. Well, either way, we still need to do a lemon law episode. I mean, my mother had a really garbage X3 that she traded her much less garbage X3 in on for that was like a demonstrator, and it was such a colossal piece of shit, and then she lemoned that out. So, I mean, we've had at least 2 or 3 lemon buybacks in this family, so we have some data, but obviously talking to somebody that does it professionally would be nice for when we finally do that episode. But it is still in the upcoming episode, future notes bin, so.
Now we know.
Yep. All right, I want to talk, actually, moving it back to Hyundai Kia, about the Kona.
We will not leave them alone.
Nope, and I'm going to prod at him on this one, too. I want to talk about the Kona.
The Conan?
Yep, it's
the Kona.
Kona N. Kona N? Kona N,
Kona N.
the Barbarian, that one. Anyway, so they're putting an N on a Kona, and I'm like, ooh, clicking into it. I'm like, all the N-line stuff is manual. Clicking into it, scrolling. 8-speed auto only. And I just close the window. I'm like, you're doing the same thing Ford did with ST. You had a great brand, or sub-brand, I guess, in this case, that had a really good thing going for it, which was manual only in performance. They had great product, like the Veloster and the, what was the actual hatch we didn't get here?
The Elantra.
What they gave us? Oh yeah, an Elantra N, but there was another one. It was like an N30 or something like that. i30N. Scott's posting finally. So anyway, they gave us those, and they're like universally like, dude, why would you buy a GTI? You could buy this. No, they put this garbage out. An automatic only CUV with the N brand stapled on it. So rip N, you had a good 2-year run or whatever you were out for, but that brand is now dead.
I'm just really happy that Honda doesn't use Type R lightly.
Yeah. Oh god.
You can
even SI.
Yeah, they don't take those lightly. Like when they said SI, like the weakest SI was the Prelude SI, the 2nd generation Prelude. And the only reason that was weak is by comparison. But in 1983, it was fuel injected, which was huge, and that's what it meant. It meant sports injection. But yeah, you might be able to add the Kona into our underwhelming performance cars. The Conan, you can add that to the underwhelming performance car list, and when we do our tier list next episode.
For 210, yep.
Yeah, for 210.
Which, don't worry, listeners, we will be back to the usual recording studio at that point, so you don't have to listen to
were going to do that in real life, but we couldn't today because Eric's in Florida.
Yeah, and this
Much
internet
needed.
connection is basically just imagine DSL at your grandparents' house. That's...
Oh no!
It's cable, and it's like it's like 30 megabits down when I test it, but the upload is just like it's not there.
Well, mine is so I pay for like gig through like Xfinity, but it's like Xfinity DSL gig, and it's like the highest I've ever gotten it is like I think like 700.
That's still pretty good. Oftentimes you're limited by headroom in your firewall doing packet inspection and stuff like that. So we've got gig fiber at work, and I think I've seen 930, and we have obviously pretty good hardware, but like unless you have 10 gig all the way through to your through the firewall all the way into your EDI, it's not happening.
Yeah, so I'll have to. I'm waiting until I get real like actual fiber optic in front of my house. I'll be thrilled.
Same. Ugh.
But God, I'm frustrated that Hyundai like they were like the final bastion of performance.
I know.
Weirdly enough, but like I guess I was right not having any faith in them because I never did.
Yeah,
I guess I do feel a little bit better about that now. I feel vindicated knowing that they were finding a way to screw it up.
like the screw it up. I mean, they still make the good models too. I mean, they still make the i30 in other markets. They still make the Veloster N. Scott's mentioning the Sonata N. I can't remember if that's an N line or an N, but I think you can still get a manual on that too. Elantra N, yep, you can still get a manual on that. That might be N line too. But either way, the brand was before this still very good. You can still buy that other product that's still good, just like you can still buy an M2. Yeah, it's mostly good. So is the BMW M line, but that doesn't mean it's infallible.
The BMW M line doesn't mean anything to me. It hasn't for years because for every actual M3, there's an M335i, or there's an MX1.
Also, not even M235 M Sport.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's just like they just throw it on anything these days, and they've been doing that for years. So so speaking of BMW, yesterday I asked you about when BMW started to suck. And
I was driving down the road in the Lexus, and I get a text from Ryan out of the blue. We haven't talked in a week. What year did BMW really fall off a cliff? And I just responded 2012. Nothing else.
I noticed that was before they turned 100, because they turned 100 in like 2015, 16 or something, right? Yeah. I think it was 2015. And Ford was horrific. Like, they were at their worst in 2003. Like, I would say, like, yeah, the Malaise, everybody was bad, so I can't just, like, call out Ford exclusively.
You could.
For the Malaise. No, because everybody sucked. Like, if you get into, like, a 1978 Corolla, it still kind of sucked. Like, and nobody was doing well during the Malaise. But, so, like, I can't really blame them, but, like, Ford's the first company I thought of, like, wow, 100 years, they really sucked. The Mitsubishi really sucked for their 100-year anniversary, and so did BMW. And let me see when actual Mercedes came around. Let's see here.
Not the Bertha Benz.
Yeah. Mercedes-Benz. So they were founded... So... 1 second.
I mean, it's got to be the 1900, the first decade.
1926, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because Carl
you're right. Yeah.
Mercedes a lot before that.
That's true.
But
I was thinking like the Blitz and Benz and all that kind of stuff. Ding.
And so like 2026 is coming up here, and like right now, so the G-Wagon is already screwed because it's independent front suspension. They're making the SL all-wheel drive. Mm-hmm. Like they're totally going the way of the 100-year curse.
They have multiple front-wheel drive models.
Yeah, like they're going the way of the 100-year curse, and so like what are some other brands that were like Chevy? So like
a Chevrolet.
They were founded 1911, so 2011.
They've arguably gotten better since then.
Yeah, but I mean, 2011 was a pretty bad year for them, though. But was that their worst?
No, it wasn't their worst. I mean, that was like just post bailout, wasn't it? But
yeah, I know. But that's the thing is,
they were making just terrible product prior to that, though.
So they were an outlier, but yeah, Ford 1903, Dodge 1900, 2000 Dodge. You can't get anything good from 2000 by Dodge. Like everything sucked. It's like, this is a real thing. There's a 100-year curse on car companies. So, like, yeah, it was founded in 1899, so that was irrelevant because they weren't in America yet.
Yeah, so we still have like another 80 years for Fiat here, so we should be okay.
Alfa Romeo 2010. Yeah, I guess I would say that they weren't the worst, but I mean, Italian companies kind of suck, like just in general. Lancia. Lancia was founded in 1906.
I don't even know what they were making in 06.
Were they making anything?
Well, yeah, they were, but I think it was like the rebadged Chrysler stuff, or was that pre-FCA? That might have been pre-FCA.
That was like right around the time of FCA, I think.
They're making like the Thema and all this other just garbage with that really terrible Lancia moss stapled onto the front.
Let's see here. I'm looking at Lancia 19.
No more looking up the 100-year curse. We can do an episode on it and predict the death year.
This is an actual thing. So yeah, actually they made the Ypsilon, which is just
that thing is so disgusting.
So yeah, there is the 100-year curse. This is a real thing. So there you go. Every time a car company turns 100 years old, you better bet that they're making the worst crap that they've ever made.
I'm going to pull up a photo of the Ypsilon for the recording, just because it is so disgusting.
It is a horrific vehicle, and they came like, it just came out of nowhere. Like, it's the 100-year curse will come out of nowhere. Because like you'll like 2 years beforehand, like you can totally be making something fine. Like, yeah, Mitsubishi is a perfect example. Like 2010. If you said that they were going to be off of a cliff in 2015, nobody would believe you.
Yeah. Well,
but then, like, 2015 is just like everything they made was pure garbage.
The Evo's gone. The Eclipse is a crossover. Just like,
yeah,
what?
Like, seriously.
No.
And then they did their, for their 100th anniversary, they paid West Coast Customs to turn an Outlander into the original car, and it was the worst, most disgusting thing you've ever seen in your life.
My life was better before I knew that factoid that you just placed in my brain.
Now you can hang out on a beach and just sulk about that.
Yeah, well, right now after this, I got to decide which beach bar to go to for dinner.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It's like 50 degrees outside, so I'm probably going.
Of course, it was 60.
Well, I don't know. I didn't go out at like peak time. Also, Corey lies.
It's about 70 degrees in the porch right now.
You also have the heater on, honey.
Nope, it's been off for like an hour.
Oh, nice. There you go.
It's 79 here right now, just so you know.
Nice. That's 10.
Same as the porch.
It is. It's actually on the warm side. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. I'm going to close the video version with the Lancia Ypsilon from 2006, searing your eyeballs out. And then, yeah.
Please make it go away. I don't want to look at this anymore. We should call this episode a day, because now we have to look at that. Did you have another topic after this? Or
I don't think so.
I think it was the last. I think I'm good here. I don't want to look at that car anymore. I think it's awful.
It is very, very terrible. No, that's it.
Guys, I see why Tucker loves playing BMNG.
Have you been playing BMNG this whole time?
Yes, nonstop. I've actually been off-roading.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, it's been real, everyone. And thank you for listening to us talk at you about things that kind of matter.
Yep. And we will let you know if somebody ends up with a bolt. And then if you have any recommendations on a good local wrapping company that would want some exposure on a B-Ray YouTube channel in exchange for creating and installing a paper bag wrap on a Chevy Bolt.
Pristine Detail, I bet, would be about that.
So anyway.
'Cause they rip.
Perfect. I could get it printed out at work. I just don't know how to apply wraps.
Yeah, you could totally talk to Hip. You'd be about that.
Awesome.
That'd be so funny.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Enjoy for it.
Bye.